everybody, welcome to McFarland Minutes, our weekly podcast hosted by Natalie McFarland, me, and founder and president of McFarland Productions, and Scout Foster, our outreach marketing manager. In these episodes, you can expect deleted scenes, in-depth campaign reviews, project highlights, marketing concepts, book reviews, and a deep dive into the creative process at Off Your Rocker Films, and of course, invaluable lessons on mentorship, leadership, and the business of it all. We are so excited to be releasing our episodes every Sunday as your soft launch to Monday. Welcome to episode 9, McFarland Minutes, your soft launch to Monday. This week, we're playing hit or miss marketing campaign style. And Scout and I are going to talk through some of our favorite marketing campaigns. Some maybe we slightly disagree on, and some that maybe could have used some tweaks in order to really make them a hit. But I think what we'll do is we'll talk some about, I guess what we're really doing is we're talking about whether or not these companies are doing a great job at identifying with their community, right? So like we talked about in the last episode, do they get who this is for? And did their marketing campaign do that, right? So first on the list, and I'm gonna go out of order. So we've got a list that we put together here, but I'm gonna go out of order just to throw Scout off a little bit.
Great.
Aldi's.
Okay, wait. Hit. Because they've gone rogue, and I think that's just funny. I think you could possibly miss on that if you don't know who your audience is, but they know who their audience is, and they have been extremely relevant in trends, and I think that can be kind of muddy, but they're doing it. So when I'm trying to go rogue too because they've been going rogue. Okay, so
Take
when
inspiration.
When Southwest announced that they weren't doing 2 free bags, like bags fly free, which has been their deal for like ever. But anyways, not my problem. Well, kind of is, but not what we're talking about
They've
today.
made it our
That's a
problem.
miss. If they're on the list, that's a miss. But anyways, Aldi. The day that Southwest announced the bag deal, they had a reel go up. It could have been like the next day, but it was extremely timely, like great timing. With someone walking into Aldi with their 2 large checked bags, like filling their cart. And I thought that was so funny. Actually, let me just go ahead and pull that up here because the I want to read the little caption they have because it was pretty clever, and personally I loved it. I feel like I might not be able to find it in a quick enough manner, but anyways, it was pretty much like BYOB, yeah, bring your own bags, and yeah, loved it. They
So Aldi's,
the
I
whole
think
thing
is
was
like
like,
Oregon, right? You've got to buy your bags in Aldi's. Is that right?
yeah,
Yeah. So that's an
yeah.
Oregon state law. Like that's all of our grocery stores, but like
Are you kidding me?
yeah, it's a whole
That's weird.
anti-plastic thing. Um that's a whole
Why don't they
nother
just switch the paper?
um yeah. The Oregon decided to implement a law that requires you to buy bags. I think they're 15 cents each or I don't
Okay, well
something like
that's a
that.
miss.
Yeah, that's a miss.
That's a miss.
That's a miss. But Aldi's, back to
Anyways,
Aldi's.
yeah, I can't find the reel, but it was just really funny that I feel like they really called Southwest out, but I feel like they really knew who their audience was, and I literally went to Aldi the next day after that. And I had to drive 35 minutes to go to an Aldi, which isn't really that far, but just it's not down the road. It's not like around the corner from my house. Like I have to plan to go to Aldi, and I was like, that is hilarious. Also reminds me that I need to go to the grocery store. So I just I just liked that it was so timely and almost was like kind of caught me off guard a little bit. Like I stopped scrolling to watch how they were calling Southwest out.
They kind of called themselves out though too, really with that
They did.
because like you have to buy bags there,
They had to
right?
buy
So
bags.
yeah, that's pretty great. I love the
That was
I'm
funny.
with you on that one. That one's a hit. Um okay. Next one out of order on our list. I think I'm gonna save some of these to like group together, but Turtle Box.
Their entire marketing is a hit for me. I
Hit.
don't have one specific
Absolutely.
thing.
Yeah.
They just do a great job.
They do. They kill it. You know what I think I like most is that they do such a good job of like identifying with lifestyles. So, like the turtle
100%.
box is part of it's a part of the story, right? Like it isn't the story. It's a part of the story.
Mhm.
So like
Mhm.
maybe they're fishing, maybe they're ranching, maybe they're rodeoing, maybe they're I don't know, snowboarding, right? But the point is that Turtlebox shows up within the story rather than Turtlebox being the story.
100%. I also like that it seems like they use a lot of UGC,
Yes, their
user-generated content,
UGC is
and I
great.
also love that. Yeah, which it's almost done so well that I don't know if it is true UGC or if they are out there shooting it like it is like, I'm a little confused sometimes, like, they do that good of job.
Either that or their creative director does a really great job of directing their influencers and UGC
That's
people
what I'm
or
saying, like, is it real or is it fake? I don't know, but it's a hit every
oh
time.
yeah. I
Yeah,
even if it is fake, like they're doing a heck of a good job at making it really authentic because it
right.
like anything there is a legit situation for me. Related to that, Yeti.
Um, Yeti Films, hit. Yeti Social, I feel like that can go hit or miss sometimes.
I'm
Sometimes I'm scrolling and I'm like, I feel like that's not the Yeti standard, but their films 100% hit.
Oh, yeah. Yeti's social sometimes can get a little too here by this for me, but their films are
Mhm.
incredible. I mean, I've watched so many of these Yeti films, it's ridiculous, but the one that like stands out to me is their Paniolo one, so Hawaiian Cowboys one. And they like basically tell the story of the Hawaiian Cowboys and like Yeti kind of like shows up sometimes, you know. They're
Yeah,
obviously like the title sponsor on the film. Yeti like products show up within the film, but they don't ever actually talk about Yeti in the film. And it is like my favorite style of marketing that also on this list, Sitka does a really great job of that
mhm,
too in the outdoor industry where they are just telling these stories and you get to go along for the ride. They're very cinematic. You feel like you're there and you're part of it. It doesn't feel like you're watching a commercial at all. It's very much who it's for and why
right,
we're
you might
there.
cry, you might laugh,
Right, yeah.
you never
The
know.
Paniolo one, though, on Yeti Films, 10 out of 10. 15 out of 10, really. I love that story so much, and I just think that it is an absolute hit for me. Um, let's talk about the Coors. The Coors
Alright,
campaigns. I have a specific one in mind, and it's
mhm,
the baseball can that they came out
mhm.
with when one of the Angels all-star players hit one of the LED panels and killed it. The commercial at the time happened to be a Coors can. Hit or miss?
Hit for sure. Well, I mean,
Huge.
literally a hit.
Yeah, literally
Literally a hit.
literally a hit and figuratively a hit. So,
Yeah,
like, to me, number 1, just a class in, like, understanding your customer and being up to date with them, right? Like, realizing that that even happened, recognizing that it occurred, and then being fast to the punchline, right? Like, can I
that's the part that amazes me is that they got it out so quickly.
right? You were
How
able
was
to
it approved
change
by
your
200?
entire, canning
Yes,
facility for at least a run
yes,
of them to respond to this one-off thing that happened at one baseball game, but every single baseball fan in that stadium was a bigger fan, especially if you're an Angels fan, right? Like, that
yeah,
they are now Coors fans forever because they felt seen. It was who they were
right,
for, and it was very much like, how do we identify with our people, and it was
yeah.
change the can. Like, how
I
simple and
It's
difficult
literally
at the
just
same
missing,
time.
like, a square. It's like just missing a square, like a little pixel deal.
Yeah, if you haven't seen
So
this
simple.
campaign, you should really look this up. It kind of went viral all over the place because, like, basically what happened is the player and I'm not going to be able to say his name properly, so I'm going to just not say his name, but the Angels player hit one and it hit one of the LED panels, and those LED panels are fairly sensitive, so like an impact like that, especially from a baseball, is going to kill a square. Fortunately, they're like each one is compartmentalized, so if you kill one, it doesn't kill the whole screen necessarily, it just kills that chunk of LED panel, and hopefully that was repairable, otherwise that was a very expensive, you know, hit into that panel, but, so it kills one square, and it's, like, right above the Coors logo, like, it's, like, almost touching the Coors logo, so you've got a black square right there because the panel wasn't working, so all Coors did was take that and figure out where on the can it displayed on that screen, and then they matched it on their cans, and I don't know where all they distributed these cans, I hope just within that particular area, maybe within MLB or something like that, but that was, like, just such a quick response to your fans. I just thought it was so, like, well-timed, number 1, very much gets it, very much, like, relevant, you know, at the moment, and really
Yeah.
very much about, like, who it's for.
I think all like the beer companies are kind of good at that because I know, not to take this off of like derail this, but like Busch Light does the farmer corn
Mhm.
cans, and for some reason Lane has to have those every time. He's a Busch Light fan anyways, but like he's like, "Oh, the corn cans are out. I gotta grab me a pack." I'm like, it's okay. I think McUltra does the golf.
Mhm.
I think maybe that should be coming out because we're recording this around the Masters, so I
Yeah.
don't know if they'll do that this year,
Maybe
but,
they're
like,
out.
it seems like such a like, an easy thing to do for people who are walking the grocery store or scrolling social or ads or billboards or whatever, to just be like, "Hmm, wait a minute, that's different." Like,
Yeah, and
you know what I mean?
even, like, the McUltra, like, endorsement can or any of those really, like, those are kinda, like, pre-planned agreements, and I think that you don't get the
Mhm.
Coors can situation very often, right? And I
100%.
think that you should be like, not doing that kind of stuff is sort of tone deaf to your audience, right? Like,
Mhm.
that is just you not listening to where your product's ending up and how it's being used in the story that it gets to play within. But the thing that I think the Coors thing did was a response to something that they had no control over. So it wasn't an
Right.
endorsement pre-agreement, right? That
Mhm.
was an accident that then they then responded to. And not to take anything away from the Mick Ultra golf can, or golf,
Mhm.
collaboration deal. I think that's a
Yeah.
great idea, but, like, look for those opportunities where you're
Well,
listening, pay attention.
yeah. Incredibly timely. I still have absolutely no clue how they rolled that out as quick as they did, just being internal with approvals. I don't know how they did that.
Yeah, such a
It's like, how many
lesson
people
in
did that have to go through
right?
in approvals?
Right? Such a
That's a
lesson,
lesson in
especially a
approval.
yeah, that's a way to get corporate approval done quickly. I don't
Mhm,
know what you've done with your
mhm.
internal structure course, but you're winning. That's what we need to say.
Great job. Round of applause.
Um Next one, and this one is a miss for me, so but I think it's a hit for you. Liquid Death recently did a campaign that was a keg commercial. Can you just explain what it
Yes,
was
this is
first?
hysterical. This is hysterical. Okay, Liquid Death did a commercial. I believe it was only a commercial, could have been used elsewhere too, but with Kylie Kelsey when she was pregnant about the Liquid Death kegs in a bar, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. Um, Also kind of timely because you're only pregnant for 9 months, you know? Um, I mean, they could have used another model, but I think Kylie Kelsey's having like a very well deserved moment in the media right now. So I think that was well done. But I don't know. I think it's funny. I know you're like ooh about it, but I think it got a lot of well received attention.
Yeah. I
But why
mean,
do you?
I do find it is definitely funny to have, like, number 1, you know, how much do you understand pregnant ladies, right? Like, you've certainly hit there, like, the amount of water intake does sort of
Right.
require a keg, right? Liquid Death also comes in a can, so a keg makes sense for the, like, bigger size, right? Rather than, like, a
Mhm.
water bottle and then a jug, right? Like, that would have not really
Mhm.
worked, but the fact that Liquid Death comes primarily in a can, that really helps for me. I honestly struggle with the brand entirely, so that might be part of my
Mhm.
reservation, like,
Okay.
Liquid Death is, like, maybe not it for me, the name.
Well, it seems like a is it's like contradicting because why are we talking about water, H2O, something we need to survive, and then we're also saying death?
Yeah, maybe it's if you don't drink it,
And
you might die. I don't know. I I struggle with the brand in general, but it was a funny commercial. It was well done. I also the other part of it that is kind of a miss for me is like any suggestion of pregnant ladies drinking. That's what is maybe sort of the
she's
miss for
drinking
me.
water.
I know, but you're like in a
That's the point.
bar
You're
and
missing the point.
no, I get the point. I'm with you.
No, you're missing it. I think they're in a bar. I think they're in a bar because that is what makes it funny. And clearly she's not downing, I don't know,
A
like
beer or whiskey or something.
right.
Like
I
I
also
get
think
that.
I also think the branding of Liquid Death looks like you're drinking something much cooler or much like more
It
scandalous
almost
maybe
looks
if
like
you're
you're
talking
drinking a
about pregnancy.
Monster or something to
That's
me.
what I'm saying. Like it looks like it could possibly be like I don't know, it gives like draft beer or not craft
Craft
beer.
beer.
What am I trying to say? Craft, not draft. Um, craft beer vibes to me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know. It's fitting. Look, it got me
It's
to like look
like
up at
the
it, okay?
commercial certainly fits the Liquid Death brand, and I think it probably hits their fans, right? Like it's probably a hit for that. So anyway, I could be convinced kind of
Say
either
it's a hit.
way, but I'm not gonna like immediately jump to hit for me on that one. Um
Wrong.
Two brands, and we're going to do these together because I feel like they have similar mentality and like kind of a similar deal going on. TSA and
Mhm.
National Park Service.
Before I say what I think it is, let's just be real that these are fairly boring. I
Nobody
think
really
even
wants to interact with TSA, right? And like
no, in fact,
National
it's like
Park
my
Service is
hated.
pretty dry and a government agency, both of them. So,
I think that it visually, National Park Service has like better things to offer, like visually appealing, aesthetic, cool adventures type thing.
but they could have gone
TSA,
educational
in
and they
fact, no.
didn't.
You're right. I think we agree here. Both of them are very much a hit. I just think it's funny that TSA is such a hit,
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah,
You
both
know?
of them are a hit for me too. And like if you're not following TSA and National Park Service, you're honestly missing out. Like they are unhinged, as Scout would say. And
Yes, they've gone rogue.
yeah, I
I
like National Park Service and their ability to like roast people for trying to pet the buffalo is it for me. And like
I mean, number
TSA
one,
is just great too. So funny.
but TSA almost roast themselves.
Oh, absolutely they roast
Like,
themselves.
I think that's what's funny about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Like,
think
they're so well
TSA
aware.
I think TSA took what is like a fairly inconvenient process and like fairly uncomfortable and like slows the whole thing down in one way. Although like dear God, thanks for the existence of TSA, right? Like
Right.
definitely want them around and they do a wonderful job. But like what you took is like kind of a negative experience between a person and when they have to interact with TSA,
Mhm.
like, you kinda took that and made it great, right? Like, TSA has some knock it out of the park content, particularly on social media, and knock it out of the park content, so does National Park Service, you know? So,
Mhm.
I think they're
I
both
think
really good, and, like, National Park Service probably could have gone educational. That probably should have been, like, the first
that's
thought.
probably, like, the primary thought, yeah.
Right, like, it should have been, like felt a little bit like Animal Planet or something like that,
Mhm.
right? But, or National Geographic maybe, but they instead chose to be, like, very funny and facetious and, like, gave people a reason to follow them that, like,
Right.
wasn't repetitive.
Also pretty shareable content because everybody can
Absolutely.
relate to it. So, like, good on you for noticing that about your audience and really upping that engagement, I think, because, like, yes, I think educational content has a place. I'm very much pro educational content. I do think it could get a bit dry with the National Park
I think
Service.
it can get, like, old. right? Like, I
Yeah.
think you can get tired of seeing the educational content, but, like, the funny stuff is gonna win people's
Well, pretty
attention.
much everyone wants to laugh at something, and I think, like, most people can get a roast, you know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Not everyone is going to care about learning about, I don't know, random I love to learn about animals, like, Animal Planet was on 24/7 growing up. Like, that is very much like a niche to me.
Yeah.
Like, not
You
everyone
can
cares
hit
to
a
learn
much
about.
larger audience and be a lot more
Right,
accessible to more people, and I honestly think, like, it's sort of a draw to go to a park, right? Like,
I think
people
so,
people
yeah.
go I don't know, you probably use some of their jokes when they're in the park with their family, right? Like,
It's very
it kinda turned this, like, go look at it sort of history education feel that's, like, a little bit too maybe stiff for a family vacation and turned it
it's
into a funny educational feel.
yes, it's also so dad joke
Yes.
driven to me, like, maybe that is where they're going with it because I'm wondering if I'm thinking here, like, this was not a prior thought, I'm talking as I'm thinking it,
You're watching the magic
which is never
happen.
good. Yeah, right now, live. Well, not live, but for you it is. Um, I wonder if that is maybe, like, I wonder if dads are their target, though, and maybe
I
that's why they
think
go
it's
kind of roasting dad jokes.
I think it's families, right? And parents are the ones that are gonna decide where they're
Right.
going on these
Well,
vacations and,
dads
like,
usually.
what's more family friendly than a
Yes.
trip with your kids to Yellowstone or Yosemite or the Redwoods or, you know, Red Rocks or Joshua Tree, right? Like,
Right.
you're out there like, that is a family friendly trip. That's the trips you go on as a kid, so
This
target
is
dad, who's gonna be
this is
doing
actually
probably
really
most of the driving on a stereotypical
right,
basis.
and, like, possibly, like, I don't think dads u in my experience, dads don't usually plan the trip, but I think they're a large part of the fund the trip, so you have
Mhm.
to kinda get them on board to, you know, rake them for the people who are only listening to this, you have absolutely no clue what just happened, but maybe you should watch it on our website or YouTube so you know what I just did. Um,
Scout's in here making it rain, you know?
yeah, but, like and I'm not saying there's no stay-at-home dads or, like, anything like that, I'm just saying I think in general.
Stereotypically, generally
Yeah,
speaking, yeah.
dads also, they're probably the ones who don't wanna go on the trip, so I think you have to, like, make it their idea.
Yeah. Or like, dads, if it a lot of those national parks deals are you're gonna go camp or you're gonna do it in an RV or something like that, right?
Mhm.
And like that's a very dad friendly type of trip,
Right.
right? Generally speaking, not all dads like to camp and things like that, but we're
Right.
gonna go
Please don't
generally
get your feelings
speaking.
hurt.
Yeah. Easy, easy. We work in stereotypes and marketing because that's how we reach you, right? But anyway, like statistics really play into this, but I feel like national parks is dad focused, and like by being dad focused, it's family focused. So the jokes and the silliness that they're putting on their social media is
Mhm.
perfect, right? Like what dad didn't gain material from that as they're driving through the park and telling some of these terrible jokes to their kids, you know?
Honestly, I don't know if this is a thing, but if somebody from National Park Services is listening to this, possibly we should cut this out and send it to them ourselves, but they should have, like, dad joke books for each of the like, not each of the national parks, but, like, maybe, like, a chapter of them. I think that would be so funny,
That would
like,
be
so
great.
dads can study up on the dad jokes
Mhm.
and then take their family there and, like, be walking a trail and be like, "This is an aspen tree," you know?
Yeah.
I know that because of the way that it is, like, you know
Yeah,
what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah. I just, like I think it was very much National Park Service gets who their customer is, right? Which is
Mhm.
primarily families with kids, right?
Yeah, I
Most
agree.
of those, especially in today's age, have a dad that loves dad jokes, right? And, like, I'm here for it. Like, Kevin literally follows he's not a dad, we don't have kids of the human type, but but he, like,
Yeah.
freaking loves the dad joke thing, right? So, like, number 1, dad jokes are really it right now. Number 2, like, getting who this is really for and what kind of experience that you really want them to have within the park and make memories together. Maybe that involves dad's bad jokes, you know? Okay. Next one. Because we're talking about Unhinged, is there any social account that is more unhinged than Wendy's?
No.
No.
Um, actually, I am beginning to. This is going to be also another point that we're going to have to tell people not to get their feelings hurt. But the White House social media
Uh,
account is a bit unhinged right now.
and Border Control, both of them.
Okay, Border Patrol actually is the one. Okay, I
Yeah.
think that is the one that I'm actually thinking of, and possibly White House. I don't actually
But
know if
who
the White
was
House
following
owns.
Border Control until they started doing this, right? Like,
No
you
one.
can
No
have
one.
like whatever your political opinion is with this whole thing. Like,
Yeah,
we
that's
are
not the point
not
of
here
this.
advertising any
This is about
political thing.
marketing.
This is about marketing, right? And like, they have figured out a way to make themselves relevant.
I think it is Border Patrol. I think you just yes, that is 100% it because of the reels that I have been absolutely
They're
cracking up over. I'm
so good.
like, "Who where is their approval system?"
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I love them.
Even if you're against it, you have to admit that the content has been well done, right? Like, you can be
It's
against the effort if
incredible.
you want. The content
Yeah,
is 15 out of 10, to be
it's
honest. Like, very on trend.
yes.
But Wendy's,
Honestly,
back to Wendy's.
yeah,
The thing with Wendy's, if you're not following Wendy's, is that they roast everyone, right? Like, your mom jokes, common, right? Like, anything that they can do, like, people literally go to Wendy's to comment just to see if they can get Wendy's to roast them. Like, they're there to get
it's
roasted.
a game.
Yeah. Which brings us to an industry brand, Dale Brisbee. You Ain't No Cowboy is certainly along the same lines of Wendy's. And I think
I'm
what he's done is identify with, especially, I feel like, especially teenage boys, right? In a way that
how
is beyond.
how did this blow up like it did? I have questions I'd like to talk to Mr. Dale himself. Like, honest, like, stellar job, round of applause. I think it is absolutely hilarious that it has taken off so much over like parody and like literally just making fun of people
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
making fun of our like ourself too. You know what I mean? Like he the ones that I find absolutely hilarious are like
The other day,
him.
he posted one that was like, what are we even doing here? Like, I don't even know what we're doing. And it's like
I
ranching.
love those. And it's funny. Like I also think the ones where he, like, pulls up to the rodeo, like, 8 hours early and is, like, stretching and, I don't know, like, talking to the stock contractors, like, all of that stuff I think is absolutely hilarious because there is a part of people, like, where that is true, and then there's, like, the actual people who are, like, like, skirting in there on 2 wheels, like, barely making it to pay their fees on time or, like, barely making it you know what I mean? Like,
Questionably
I just
entered.
think R right, like, we don't even know if you're out tonight type deal. Um, I don't know, I think those are so funny. I also think his, like, 67-year-old rancher, or
Yeah.
65 or however old he says that he is absolutely hysterical because that is my big daddy. My d like, that is by the way, for people listening who don't know who my big daddy is, that is my dad's dad. Lovely guy. We call him Big Daddy.
He's incredible.
Um, he is Dale Brisby's 67-year-old rancher or whatever.
If you need to get to know
It
him,
was so
watch
funny.
Dale, you know? Like,
Literally,
Super
yeah.
Puncher was one of those too. I feel like I haven't seen the Super Puncher show up in a while, but Super Puncher was kind of like the same
Mhm,
sort of deal that he did, and like
mhm,
funny because it's true, you know, like exaggerated but
yeah,
true. And like he just does such a good job. And we've gotten the opportunity to work with Dale through our work with Montana Silversmiths a couple of
mhm,
times, and wickedly smart guy, like gets it, knows who he's talking to. Like, he thinks of Dale as this whole persona, right? And like Dale is this very well-rounded person that has like very much real relationships with real people that follow him, right?
mhm.
And so crushing it. That guy, that whole brand is another Unhinged, great like Wendy's, great like TSA, great like Park Service. especially within our industry. I'm a fan. He's done a great job.
Yeah.
Um, one I learned about recently, is Chewy, and the specific
Mhm.
campaign that I'm talking about, because I think you can argue whether all of their stuff is a hit or miss, but the specific campaign I'm talking about with Chewy is you get a pet, right? And you immediately put yourself on reoccurring dog food deliveries, right? Like, because how easy is that to just like get dog food delivered to your door? Super simple, super easy. You never forget to get dog food at the grocery store or Costco in our case, right? And you don't have to make an emergency run to town because you didn't realize you were out, right? The nice thing
Mhm.
about Chewy is that it's delivered to your door, but you're on subscription, right? When your pet, dog, whatever, passes away, your Chewy subscription is probably not the first thing on your list. No matter
Mhm.
what, you know, type of dog owner you are. If you've got a pet, a
Mhm.
hunting dog, a working dog, probably not the first thing on your list. The worst thing that could happen, and I experienced this in a slightly different way when I worked in the vet field, but the worst thing that can happen is your pet dies and the next month you get their dog food in the mail and you no longer have a dog.
Yeah, instant wreck.
Instant wreck. So I heard on a
Yeah.
recent podcast on somebody else's, and I haven't like gone through and looked at this myself, but so long as they're still doing this campaign, you'll call Chewy and say, "Hey, I just got this dog food bag. I didn't cancel my subscription. My dog's passed away." Right?
Mhm.
Instead of, "Hey, okay, we'll cancel it starting next month," which is what most subscriptions
Mhm.
would do, or maybe you've got a longer term than that on some of these subscriptions. Instead of making that painful and making it worse, they refund you your most recent bag of dog food and they send you flowers.
Yeah.
Probably
And you can
costs
donate
them,
back the dog
like,
food.
we'll say $40,
Mhm.
$50 total, maybe. It probably costs them about $50 to do that, right? But hard hit. Like, that is a
Yeah.
win. That is a winner, winner, chicken dinner for me. No one else they're not buying their dog food anywhere else after that happens.
Right.
Because it was
Yeah.
about who it was for, because Chewy cared about their customer, right? I've
Well,
ex
they know exactly what dogs mean to you, or cats, or I don't know, your goldfish, like any
bird
pet,
maybe.
yeah, I don't know, whatever. Like they 100% know
Yeah,
what,
yeah.
that animal meant to you.
Yeah.
And
I
they
don't know if you experienced this
handled
when
it
you were
right.
vet teching, but we used to do like calls for like reminders on vaccines and stuff. And we would just
Oh my
like
god,
go through the
yes.
list every year. And I would get it probably at least one time every time I got on the phone, right? I'd call 100 people in a day. Hey, Fido's due for his DHLPP, right? Fido's passed away 3 years ago. Or Fido passed away last month, or you
Right.
guys helped put him
Yeah.
down 2 months
Yeah.
ago. There what do you even say as a vet tech on the phone? Like, that
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
horrendously bad situation to be in. Did you ever do that when you were vet teching?
Thank God I never had to do any phone calls, but we would do like little postcard deals, like postcard mailers. And I'm like, why are we doing like, okay, number one, we pull the info so much sooner than we actually send them. So 100% we sent postcards like I get them for our dogs, like Rue and Dill are due for their blah blah blah. Uh 100% sent them
Yeah.
to people who have lost their dogs. Um, two like I tagged at two different clinics. One of them, we very well could have done that. I don't know. But every week we would pull, maybe not every week sounds like we put a lot of animals down, but I don't know. Every other week maybe we at some point in time, the frequency is undetermined. We would all the entire clinic would sign like sympathy cards to mail out, and I love that. I've never forgotten that. Like I think that means so much. I actually worked at that clinic when I had to put one of our little wiener dogs down. Didn't think I would get one. Did like meant everything to me. Also, kudos to whoever thought to pull my own card from the stack when I was signing them. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like, just maybe like let's think about like just it just requires like a
just
little bit of extra
care.
thought, and I think it goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like vet clinics listening to this, if you make phone calls to your clients and you run the risk of doing that, like figure out a way to be more like Chewy, right? Like figure out a
Right.
way to care about those people because I've even run into it where I'm just handed a list, right? And I'm just calling down them. I'm not going
Right.
into every single file. You've got to find a way to one, if you put the dog down, I better not be calling that dog, right?
Right.
And like if your clinic put it down, it should be in records and that record should be archived. But
Also,
if you make the mistake of making that call and you didn't know that the animal had passed away, right? Maybe they were put down somewhere else. Maybe the animal passed away on its own. Maybe, a number of reasons. Find a way to make it find a way to have sympathy.
right. I think a lot of times this runs we're getting really off on a tangent, I feel like, of really talking to vet clinics here, but um I think it's an internal communication. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like really chat like make sure your back, like your back of house, if you want to call it, talks to your front of house or vice versa. Like the people who are making the calls, usually I would say are like the receptionist at the desk, secretary type. It sounds like maybe it was slightly different for your
The
position,
clinics
but
that I was working at, it was the
whatever.
techs, but
Yeah. But have like make sure you're looking. Check like just extra step it sometimes. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah, for
But
sure.
we don't have to go too deep on my thoughts there. But yeah, extra that was a hit.
Yeah, that's
Extra
it.
extra care.
Chewy and their flowers and refund your last bag is a hit.
Mhm.
I'm here for it. Okay. We've got three brands that are within industry. And I
Mhm.
think all three of them are a hit for us in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
So I want to start with R.A. Brown Ranch. You follow them
Mhm.
much more than I do. Talk about R.A. Brown.
Yeah, so I really just think that they do a great job of staying relevant and staying like hitting trends and participating in trends, but in a tasteful way. Sometimes trends don't align with your brand, or it can be hard to like, capitalize on a trend. Um, in the ag industry, I think especially like most trends don't originate in our industry. We just need to figure out which ones align and that we can participate in. I am absolutely not a trend follower. If Natalie knows that I actually have like a resistance when it comes to trends, like
Yeah.
I don't really want to
We
participate in
don't want
them,
to
but
chase them.
I think right, but I think that they do it very well, and I always appreciate seeing that they did some social listening. Like I just think they do a good job with that, and they're certainly not hitting every trend, and I also respect that. But yeah, I think they do a good job of tweaking trends to fit them and not doing every single trend they possibly could, but the ones that they do, I think they do a good job.
Yeah, for sure. They
So
do a
that
good job of
they're
like adapting them to fit them too. Like
mhm,
yeah,
yeah.
that's cool. Um, Resistol. I am a fan of We Live It Every Day, right? Like that is very much an identified with
Oh,
your audience.
goosebumps.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
I think that really like across all platforms. I don't even have like a
Mhm,
specific example, but their commercials
mhm,
are always well shot. They're always very well storytelling. Very much storytelling. They're also like very like aware of who it is that they're talking to. They're always authentic. They work
mhm.
to have people in those spaces creating those things and putting things out for them that really get it. I think Resistol, we live it every day, and it's obvious, it's
Yeah,
obvious that Resistol is
absolutely.
really part of it. So just such a good, like a lesson in really being part of your customers' community.
Yeah.
Last one on our list of the West.
Yeah, I think they do a great job, Jesse and Sarah and whoever else works with them. I think that they do a really good job of knowing what purpose that they serve, and I think that they touch on a lot of different levels, maybe. I think possibly we could even consider it different pillars for them. I think that they cater a lot to the college kids, but I think they also have a lot of senior level positions on of the West, or they have the directory that really caters to freelancers and agencies and different like contracting companies. So I think that they do a really good job of knowing who they're talking to, but also being broad enough to where that they're like to, they are obviously niche down, but they're also broad, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think one thing that I really like is like they're a job board, right? Kind of another
Mhm.
boring business in a way, right? If you're just looking at
Mhm.
it for what it is, a job board is pretty boring, right? But
Right.
they took what should be a fairly boring business and they gave it a personality. They made it human.
Mhm.
And they've done things that like they didn't really have to do, right? Like this goes back to
Mhm.
our conversation in a previous episode about unreasonable hospitality where they made dream weavers, right? Jessie didn't have to put all the time and effort into a podcast. She doesn't have to put
Mhm.
all the time and effort into speaking. She doesn't have to go
Mhm.
out there and do it. None of that is required, right? And it's Jessie and her whole team really putting all this together. But they've done such a good job of taking a job board and turning it into a story that you actually want to listen to, right? That you
Mhm.
feel like you can kind of get to know people. You really kind of start feeling the human side of these various brands and things through leaders of the West, their podcast and their email marketing is very good. And their podcast
Yeah.
structure is really good. And the content that they give you when you're on their podcast is really good. I have nothing but good things to say about Up the West.
Yeah. Win right there. Yeah, great things. I think that they do a really good job over there. And it's all very well branded. I like how the jobs is of the West. Like everything is of the West, but it could be like jobs of the West. Leaders of the West is their podcast. I really
Directory
like
of
how
the
she set
West.
her,
Yeah.
yes, like
Yeah.
really set herself up. Um, whoever, I mean, I'm saying her as in Jesse, but I mean, just the whole
Her and her
thing was
team.
really set
Yeah.
up well. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that we love to listen, like do some social listening, right? That's really what we're doing
Mhm.
when we're looking at these brands and watching through some of these campaigns and things. I think that there's something to be learned from each one of these. There's certainly something to be learned from campaigns that really don't go well. Usually it's because you didn't hit a pillar and you weren't paying attention to who you were serving, right? You really just missed your community's point, right? And so I think that when we're working with clients, we do similar things, right? We want to be a
Mhm.
hit no matter what we do for Schaefer, or Painted Hills, or Montana Silversmiths, or any number of companies that we've worked with over the many years at McFarland Productions, and the many very incredible companies that we've worked with over the years. But the primary thing is, who is this for? How do I identify with them? And then how do I create a campaign that's relatable, right? Like, is it funny? Is it thoughtful? Is it educational? But like, how did it serve my audience and how did I
Right.
identify? Um, any last favorites? That was our list. Any last favorites before we sign off of this one?
I'm trying to think. I don't know. I think we did a pretty good list. Um,
I think
I
what
don't
I'd like to
know.
do is like, if you're listening to this, well, if you would just like comment or wherever you're at,
Yeah.
whatever form of listening you're on, like shoot us a message, comment, whatever it is, some of your favorite campaigns that have happened and you've seen and like really have like felt like that's a hit, that one sees me. And
Mhm.
and I want to know what other people think too. I'm sure there's a billion more that we could have talked about today.
Yeah.
But I think that wraps up episode 9 of McFarland Minutes, and we hope that this was a great soft launch to your Monday.